Again, that was close to Sausalito. Well, this is Sausalito. Okay. And so today I'm doing caregiving, just like for a few hours. So it's a bit further out. It's not San Francisco, San Jose. I've been to Sausalito once. Actually with the Kuwaiti, I met Kuwaiti people here. But there were other Saudis, but not in Sausalito. In fact, sausage would be Kuwait. How funny. Anyway, let's not waste time on that. Because we already know what The Hague is. Infrastructure. So you always wonder why Disneyland came back for a split second. Probably because of that, because of The Hague on those lines. But that's not of any concern. For these people with their beautiful PhDs and boyfriends, and they're abusing idiots, don't understand, but that's not going to change whether they kill me or not on the paperwork. Or not. Meaning, The Hague usually entails death, perennial, unless you bring back pink. But then if this blows, you'd have to explain to them the space breaks and other things, and they denied that because they had PhDs. And so the intelligence communities from Germany and others have all 696969 all over the capital cities like the other countries. Old news on the news, except for Tierhaufen that has 666, which is not the same. And now the old news on the news, which means the Americans are so cheap that even my biggest enemies in Germany fucking said what they are. Including the Nazi skins, who think that what happened on the coastlines was probably inspired by the Mossad and inspired by others who allowed them to do it. But in any case, considering that it was a corporational and science Atlas and Germany and Russia and space that, it was probably just a mix of things and a collective of people sitting and watching who would give a shit. Professors sitting on their professional ass in colleges speaking that they are the breakers of something, which they're not, then crying that their students are fucking mental retards whose children have to pay $100,000 a year for their fucking education. And when you do have the Hague of Dirk-Jan van Dam, meaning the prime of the primes, with those scientists on the coastlines and not some stupid dark fucker who doesn't change anything for society other than he's Jewish and he has a PhD. So that's what's known. No, I won't say famous. I'll say known. I'll say that this is something that already happened, and this hatred that Disneyland is getting from these people is what we call the extras. I mean, this is what they call the sick Schadenfreude Jr. people. So if you're going to have, it doesn't matter whether it's cycles, it doesn't matter if they are the people, the intelligence community sees things for what they are. And that is, Hague happened, the science was emptied, and there was British, there was Italians, there were Germans, there were UN corporations. She came from Russia, she came from Saudi Arabia, she had The Hague. She's a replacement child, trade poodle in the house, finito, old news on the news, she's in passing. If they made the negatives out of that girl after The Hague, it's very unusual. To put up with the illiterate people, and when they say illiterate, that's people. But there's also people in Dar es Salaam neighborhoods who are not illiterate. In other words, Dar es Salaam neighborhood people around the capital cities are not bitches and assholes. So why was that known? And then there is Reader. The Reader is a reader of Gabor Said that would make Gabor illiterate. In other words, it's just basically bad behaving people. In other words, bad people. And when I say bad people, I'm not giving the sermon or the preach about bad people. If you're an asshole, full stop. If you're collectively an asshole, or you couldn't contain your jealousy before that you had to smash that girl's head in and bring back Disneyland to make you feel good inside, tells me that you're big shit. The fact that there was a ship with that girl, most likely, because there's no fucking way that one female would have done that chaos on the coastlines by herself. In other words, if you have The Hague, if she was famous before in Western Europe as the Baselers or the Woolwichers or Londoners or French Meantime or the UN or London or Italy knows about like Warsaw International or Cairo or Saudi Arabia or Russia, because the brother of the mother is the head of sciences in Warsaw. He's 96. He says, Poland is pink, you're Russian, rays and blacks, on the border grays. The cousin of the father, the same, and that's it. Except that's Egypt and Saudi Arabia. One is pink, the other one is a grays and blacks. So take your pick and fuck off. So if that's the old news on the news and they bring back in desperation Disneyland with a piece of paper that 221 after The Hague, it means that the intelligence community wanted to make a point. So when they say to you that the radio was invented 200 years ago after a smashed in head on the coastlines, they meant it. The missing link. Now, you don't have to sit there and start judging Disneyland and hating Disneyland and giving me opinions, because you don't have the same experience as that intelligence. You don't have that intelligence in your head. you didn't have it in your ass, whether you had a PhD or not, whether you went to college or not, you won't reopen it. Your Ivy Leagues cannot reopen that shit on the West Lines. You can only open financial banks. That's how bad you are. And if I'm anti-Mossad and that offends you, then you're fucking retarded, US. Then you keep your void of the sciences on the West Lines. With your Mossad, with your tits and ass, and your fucking shit. That's Intel. That's 2-1. What did you bring back Disneyland in total desperation, stick around like this, and say that, oh man, that's going to help. It's not going to help. It's going to make it look real bad. That's not the parents either in Fresno or retirements, okay? And now, if they made negatives of that girl, because they probably did in science, she was into science. The girl was only doing science. She wasn't the directorate of humanitarian leave service. She was on helicopters all over Africa, Asia, South America, D1, Oslo, DCY, USA, CRS, D1. That's job, plus pioneer camps. We only have a little city. That's a little big. Child was good at sciences. Child is not good at sciences anymore because she's fucking busy. Or she's still good at this. She's still good at sciences. Yeah, maybe in another way or something. In other words, that's bad in itself. So, and so there are people who are nasty. And the fact that Disneyland doesn't cry, the fact that this girl never cried, the fact that this girl had a Hague and had been put through all those pains and all those fires as a child, and all the pains for the parents and the Crowleys and Crowleys after her head was smashed in on the West Lines, all your hatred, all your verbal shit in Fresno, verbal shit towards the child, psycho, US. Even if I had been long ago in the entire communities, by now, this is Scotland from Radio Globe, and you can keep your idiots and your retards if you're coming back.